Hello everybody and welcome to your next tutorial. So the last tutorial was a long one and we covered a lot, but I hope I didn't lose any of you guys from the last tutorial. So in the last tutorial we basically displayed what we got in our line just to show that everything was fine upon loading. Um, so what we ought to do now is for our FileManager class we want to make some a couple private variables. So to those who don't know, or I guess if I never explained it, what we're doing now is we're creating two-dimensional vectors, which is a vector of vectors. So each line and each element is a vector, right? So whenever we make an array or something, a multi-dimensional array, that is a value of an array. So for example, if I made um, test array, whatever, I made a value of 3, we know that we can have 3 values across followed by 3 values down, right? And that's fine, right? But when it comes to files and other stuff, right, we never know the actual size of the file. So a vector is a resizable array, right? So instead of specifying a size, what we do is that we have an array of a vector of vectors. So one vector, the first vector line can probably hold 6 elements. The next one, if you wanted, it could store 3 elements. The next one could store 5 elements. It depends, right? So therefore, you don't have a set amount. You can have a resizable vector of vectors, and that's why that's how it works. So the thing that we have to do now is, in order to store something within our two-dimensional vector, we can't just put a string in there. We have to put a vector of strings in there. So what we need to do is we need to make a string vector, and we'll call it temp attributes, and we'll make another vector, and we'll make another string, and we'll call it temp contents. Now I know vectors tend to confuse a lot of people, and they tend to turn away some people. uh, I don't If you really don't get vectors, then you can always look up references on the internet, right? But it shouldn't discourage you if you don't really know vectors in and out, but it's a good thing to look up because you will need them in the future sometime. Anyways, so what we're going to do now is we're going to say, uh, hmm, oh, now that we erased we got rid of the spaces, what we got to do is we're gonna say that if line dot find load equals, okay, is equals to std string dot end position. So if they found that, then we gotta change the load state. So what we're gonna do is quickly, I guess up here we'll make an enum called load state, and we'll say that we're either loading in attributes or contents. And I like to just make my enums uppercase, so like the in caps, so then I know the difference between them. So what we're gonna do is we'll, I guess, yeah, for now, just for the sake of time, I'll just make this a global variable. We'll change this later. But what we're gonna say is that if it's load equals, then we set the state equal to attributes, and we'll say else state equals to contents. Okay, simple enough. So if the load state, if states is equal to attributes, and we could actually, yeah, what we would do it is we would just do it in here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna erase the load equals. So we'll say that line dot erase, I guess load equals +1. No, actually, sorry. From 0 to load to the equal sign, line.find equals +1. So that will erase the load equals for us, and I believe I have something to put there, but I don't have the idea for that yet. Okay, so what that's gonna do is just erase the load equals. So we're gonna have everything else that we need in our file. So what we're gonna say is that we're gonna say that line.erase, and we're gonna use a remove function again, and we're gonna remove the first the kind of the first the opening square brace. So let's just see if this works as it's supposed to. So we'll run this program. Okay, so as you can see, it gets rid of the opening brackets, but as we see that it never got rid of the load equals, which is what we want to get rid of. So we gotta try and edit the code to see if it can get rid of the load equals. So let me close this. Oh, it's a minor problem. It should be not equals end position, not equals end position. So let's run this. Okay, so we noticed that the load equals is gone, so we got that set up that we want. Okay, so now we gotta use basically the string stream to split up everything and post and put them into our attributes. So what we gotta do is we're gonna create a string stream, std string stream, and we're gonna store our line in there. So what we gotta do is go to FileManager.h and add in the SStream class. Okay, so let us go right here. So we store our string stream in the line, and we're gonna say while line. No, sorry, string stream str. So while str. So this is just gonna it's gonna cycle through our. We're gonna use what is called a delimiter, and we're just gonna cycle through, and whatever the delimiter is, then we're gonna write that to our temp contents or temp attributes. So how we're gonna do this is that we're gonna say, so we have our while loop to cycle through, and we're gonna call std get line, and we're gonna say our string and our line, and our delimiter is the closing square bracket. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna say that if line not equals to, so if it's not an empty line, then we're going to add it. Then we have to decipher if it's an attribute or if it's not. So we're going to say that if state equals attributes, then we're going to say that temp attributes dot pushback, and we're going to push back the line, and we'll say else temp contents dot pushback line. Okay. So we should add the contents like so. So after this line right here, we're going to say that if states is equal to contents, sorry for this, but if state is equal to contents, then and temp contents dot size is greater than 0, then we're going to say that attributes dot push back, and we're going to push back temp attributes, and contents dot push back temp contents. So what we got to do also is that whenever we what we got to do is that if it's, the reason why I put this here is that we got to say that if it's the status temp contents, if the status equal to contents, that we got to set temp contents dot clear. So we got to clear what we had in there before, and for attributes we got to clear that too. If we don't clear what we had before, sorry, if we don't clear what we had before, then therefore it's just going to add upon it, because the vector is a resizable array. So if we don't clear it, then we're going to get results that we really don't want to have. And if you want, you can clear the contents and attributes before you even do the file stream stuff, just in case the person calls load content again. So for whatever reason the person calls load content again and you want to clear what they had before, then you can always do that. And you can, if you don't want to do this, then you can always have an unload, a FileManager unload contents class, which will unload the attributes and stuff for you, the temp attributes and all that stuff. But yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm going to cut this and I'm going to paste this right here. So we're just gonna be basically seeing what exactly we're storing. So we're just gonna see, we're not gonna see the whole file. We're just gonna see exactly what we're storing in each individual, whether it be a content or an attribute. Okay, so what we're storing in here is the attributes going to be image. We're going to be loading these images. These are going to be the attributes that we load in, we save in, and then these are going to be the values that we put in. So I'm going to end that tutorial here since it's getting long, and we'll finish it off in the next few tutorials. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and bye.